the name of Lieutenant Colonel Dr. Ibrahim Yakasai, head of Major Hamza al-Mustafa strike force, reoccurs as a purveyor of death in the inglorious regime of General Sani Abacha. Did he kill Yar'adua and Abiola? Is Dr. Yakasai the man behind the proverbial lethal syringes? Hi guys, welcome to Afriverse Historic. On today's episode, we look into the shocking revelations of Colonel Yakasai, also known as Dr. Death, and how he almost died at the hands of Major Hamza al-Mustafa, the Chief Security Officer of General Sani Abacha. Do stay tuned and enjoy the ride. In his student days at the Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, Ibrahim Yakasai nursed the ambition of becoming a high-profile medical practitioner. Few, if any, of his mates at Barawa College Zaria, where he had his secondary school education and was a prefect on the account of his brilliance between 1972 and 1976, doubted that he would realize his dream sooner than later. He did, in little more than a decade, after he took the Hippocratic Oath to use his knowledge and specialized skill in the service of mankind. He joined the army and rose to the rank of Lieutenant Colonel and became the best-known doctor in the Nigerian army and arguably the most powerful. Yakasai revealed that he has known Major Hamza al-Mustafa for 17 years. They had been together since their cadet days. Mustafa was with the former head of state, General Sani Abacha, but in 1985, he had some problems with him, and he was posted to Calabar. Yakasai was also posted to Calabar. He was there until the end of 1990, before he traveled to England to further his studies. By the time he came back in 1994, Mustafa and Abacha had made up. It was Mustafa who told him that he was needed in the villa, that is, Aso Rock, by Abacha in 1994, and he went. The security at the villa was made up of three main parts. A. The Brigade of Guards. B. The Strike Force. And C. The Military Police. But the two main arms are the Brigade of Guards and the Strike Force. Mustafa was in charge of security, and even though Yakasai was senior to him in rank, because al-Mustafa is or was his friend, he never minded working under him, kind of. They really worked together, Yakasai said. Yakasai is a medical doctor, but he doubled as a security officer. Each time the commander-in-chief was to go out, he either went in the advance party or in the last party. You could say he was Mustafa's second in command. But that could be wrong too, because even though Mustafa was in charge of the strike force, there was a commander, Lieutenant Ikilana. He was the commanding officer. The Brigade of Guards was made up of 300 soldiers, while the strike force was made up of 80. Yakasai was trained in security matters on the orders of the commander-in-chief in 1994. Even then, he was in charge mainly of health of members of the outfit, that is, the Brigade of Guards and the strike force. Members of the outfit were trained in Libya and North Korea. Usually, it was Mustafa, Wazo and Yakasai who recommended those to be recruited into the outfit. But he examined them medically. Then, they had an embarrassment in Libya. 4 of the soldiers who were sent for training there tested HIV positive. That was when an embarrassed Abacha now insisted that Yakasai must have all those recommended for training undergo a HIV test before they were sent to either Libya or North Korea. Anybody sent is usually given the sum of $11,000, so it was like a competition. Of all that were recommended for training, about 10 tested positive, Yakasai said. Usually, to make sure there's no mistake during the test for HIV, Yakasai said he first tested them at Aso Rock Clinic. If it is positive, to make assurances double sure, he sent the sample to Dr. Njoko at the Military Hospital Lagos, and then again to the Edo Hospital in Abuja, where a coursemate of his, Dr. Gamani, is in charge, and then to a laboratory in England. All the steps were to make sure nobody was cheated. This can easily be cross-checked from Dr. Njoku or Dr. Gamani. Also, even those that tested positive, Yakasai said, he used his money to have them treated at Edo Hospital, Abuja. But Yakasai had a problem there because of Mustafa. Anybody he did not want to be a member of the security outfit, because he had the final say, he would tell them, Yakasai said you are not medically fit. And this was a lie Yakasai revealed. Yakasai reiterated, only 10 people after the Libya embarrassment were diagnosed by him as having the HIV virus. Even though Mustafa was in charge of the security, all the money went to Alhaji Ismail Gwazo, who was the national security advisor. Gwazo was also reluctant to release money for the outfit. He was in the habit of delaying it, Yakasai said. Nobody knew what he was doing with the money. He could delay releasing funds from between 1 to 2 months. The boys were angry and relentless. At times, Yakasai would go to Kano and borrow money to give out to the boys. He borrowed from somebody like Alhaji Dankabo. Then in April 1997, things were very bad. He and Mustafa decided to go and meet Major General Edward Uminna, who was in charge of Petroleum Trust Fund, PTF, under the military. He told him of the problems they were having funding the security outfit. General Uminna asked them to put it in writing. They wanted the sum of 500 million naira. So, they put it in writing, and he released the sum to them in 2 installments of 300 million and 200 million. They planned to do the following with the money. 1. Buy houses for the boys. 2. Buy vehicles for the boys. And 3. General welfare. Yakasai was a liaison officer. The first 300 million was used to buy vehicles and houses. They bought 23 houses at Gwarimpa Housing Estate, Abuja, for Major General Adisa, former Minister for Works and Housing. The houses were for 23 officers, including Mustafa and Yakasai. Then they went to buy 26 Peugeot station wagon vehicles and 8 Toyota Land Cruiser Jeeps, all from ASD Motors, Kaduna. They gave 23 Peugeot vehicles to some members of the outfit, but the Jeeps were for Mustafa, Yakasai, Abacha's ADC, Aminu, Mohammed, Ishaku, Doba, Lawal Argungu, and Lawal Rabo. All the money was in Yakasai's account. It was like this. The check was made out in the name of the security department. But Mustafa asked Yakasai to launch it into Yakasai's own account. That means another check was made out in Yakasai's name. Mustafa also told him to pay Major Mohammed and Mr. Ahmed Sabi of the SSS some money. Then Mustafa asked Yakasai to pay the check into Yakasai's own account. And Yakasai asked why. Mustafa replied that they will use it to help themselves, Yakasai said. Although he continued to give Mustafa updates on the state of the account. The remaining 200 million was spent by Mustafa on miscellaneous. He bought a house at the cost of 25 million in Kano, but he paid only 10 million. The remaining 15 million was written off for him as public relations. Mustafa gave some out on welfare, like the sum of 80 million, Yakasai said. But Yakasai had a problem over this account because he did not know Mustafa is a devil, he said. In Yakasai's words, quote, Mustafa was the one who asked me to put money into my account. He was the person who told me how much to withdraw at each time. He was the one who dispersed the money, just like he was the one who had the final say on the security outfit. But each time he does not want to give anybody money, he tells them it's Yakasai. He says, go and look at the account, he has all the money. End of quote. If you find this video worthwhile, please take us some time to smash a like and subscribe to the channel, as it goes a long way in supporting our efforts. Thank you. Now let's get back to the video. According to Yakasai, he alleged that Abacha really wanted about 6 people killed. The 6 included Generals Olusegun Obasanjo and Musa Yar'adua, Colonel Gwadabe, Colonel Fadile, and Major Akinyemi. It was God that saved them. When they were eventually jailed, Abacha ordered that Yakasai must confirm the state of the health of all main prisoners each time the prison authorities sent a distress call on their state of health. When he confirmed, Yakasai will have to get clearance from Abacha through al-Mustafa and or Gwazo or directly from him at times before he goes in the company of other doctors and treat the person. One of the greatest pains, one of the worst periods of his life, Yakasai said, was when he read in the papers that he might have been the one that injected Yar'adua with poison. The truth about Yar'adua and Yakasai revealed, is that Yar'adua was the one who came between Abacha, Gwazo, Mustafa on one side, and I. The Inspector General of Police, Alhaji Komasi, is alive and can bear me witness, he said. Yakasai saw Yar'adua on December 1st or 2nd, 1997. Mustafa called him because of the reports he got from Abakaliki prisons that Yar'adua was ill. In fact, the commander-in-chief called him too. He then left for Abakaliki to see Yar'adua. There, he met the prison doctor from the University of Nigeria Teaching Hospital, UNTH, Enugu. I have forgotten his name, and now he limps a little, he said. There also was CSP Obwa and Yakasai, and they went with his nurse too. The physician from UNTH has been seeing Yar'adua. He did not look like somebody who was going to die, but he was ill. The then military administrator of Ebonyi State, Commander Fegabo, too was there. Yar'adua had an enlarged liver. He was a chain smoker, Yakasai said. They suspected he had cancer of the lungs or liver. Yakasai made his notes in the prison exercise book. The physician from UNTH took Yar'adua's blood sample. Not him, he said. They split the blood samples into two. The physician took half to UNTH to run tests, and he took half to run tests too. But the results confirmed a severely damaged liver, which was almost failing. Yar'adua had hepatitis too. They confirmed alpha fetal protein. They took these results on Thursday and confirmed it on Friday. It was then that the UNTH doctor told them to appoint him as Yar'adua's doctor. Yakasai phoned Abuja and got permission. When both of them got the results, there was no change in Yar'adua's condition. On Saturday, he was better. In fact, on Sunday, Yar'adua was strong enough to play a game of lawn tennis. Yakasai went back to Abuja. But on Monday morning, Mustafa phoned Yakasai to tell him he had got a call from Abakaliki, which told him Yar'adua was very ill. He said the physician said he developed jaundice suddenly overnight. Yakasai rushed to Mustafa's office to get permission to go, but Mustafa told him that the commander-in-chief had not come down. The prison authorities were waiting for permission to allow them transfer Yar'adua to UNTH. But Mustafa said the commander-in-chief had not come down. By 1 p.m., when he had become frantic, he went to see Gwazo to get permission from him. He met the IG of police there. He too had come to see Oga, that is, General Abacha. When he told Gwazo how urgent it was, he said Oga had not come down. Yakasai now said that it is better to pardon Yar'adua so he can go and take care of his health. But Gwazo fled up, Yakasai said. Yakasai finally saw the commander-in-chief by 3 p.m. and he gave permission, and they immediately started organizing the security. He phoned the Enugu and Ebonyi State military administrators to inform them that Yar'adua was going to be transferred to UNTH Enugu. He then phoned the physician, who told him that Yar'adua was slipping into a coma. This was around 3 p.m. He was transferred to UNTH. Yakasai arrived at Enugu Airport by 6 p.m. and by 7 p.m., he was at UNTH, where he met both the Enugu and Ebonyi State military administrators. They told him Yar'adua was dead. They said he was in a coma when he was brought into the hospital, and that he died in the hospital. That was when my problem with Abacha, Mustafa and Gwazo started, Yakasai revealed. He phoned al-Mustafa and the ADC to the commander-in-chief and informed them of Yar'adua's death. He asked them what to do, because by this time, the prison authorities had refused the body. The hospital too had refused the body, saying their mortuary was bad. Abacha ignored him completely. The Chief of Army Staff's conference was going on in Enugu. Military officers were there. The Chief of Defense Staff, then Major General Sani Abacha, was in Enugu, and so was the Chief of Army Staff. Still, nobody informed Abacha. They did not want him to know. Yakasai waited for Abacha to call him back. The time was around 3 a.m. They did not. It was then he told the military administrator of Enugu and stated thus, quote, "Look, Yar'adua is a Muslim. He is a prominent figure. He has died since 3 p.m. and this is 3 a.m. and nobody from Abacha has cared to call us. I am willing to take a risk if you are willing. I want to take his body back to Katsina, to his people." He agreed to take the risk. It was then I phoned the IG of police, Ibrahim Komasi, and briefed him on the situation and what I wanted to do. The IG responded at once, "If you do, I'll be there to receive him." End of quote. As soon as the IG told him this, he took an aircraft and put Yar'adua's body. He first flew him to Abuja to refuel. Neither Abacha, Gwazo, Abacha's ADC, nor Mustafa knew he was in Abuja with Yar'adua's body. From the Abuja airport, he called Mustafa, and Mustafa thought he was still in Enugu and asked him to still wait. He did not tell him, and this was how he took Yar'adua's body to Katsina. That was how the IG received his body. It was not a federal government's delegation. The IG took off on his own, and thank God he did, because he was the one who saved my life, Yakasai revealed. In Katsina, they almost lynched me, he said. The IG shielded me. The truth is that Abacha, Gwazo and Mustafa wanted Yar'adua to be buried in their Abakaliki prisons like a common prisoner, a common criminal, he said. And Yar'adua was not a criminal. He did not do anything. When he got to Abuja after Yar'adua's burial, Abacha, Gwazo and Mustafa refused to speak to him. But none of them had the courage to ask him, "Why did you take Yar'adua's body to Katsina?" They knew what happened. First, they delayed to give permission early to transfer him to UNTH, when the prison authorities notified them of the state of his health. Second, they ignored him even in death. The people think there was a federal government delegation, that Abacha gave permission for his body to be taken home. He did not, Yakasai revealed. "I am pained by the accusations that I injected Yar'adua with poison," he said. "Allah knows the truth. The truth is that although the period Yar'adua was in jail, I never gave him any injection. I never took his blood sample. The only time I had anything to do with his blood sample was when his physician got his blood when he was ill, gave me half and took half," Yakasai said. Anybody can cross-check this with the physician and prison authorities. The medical reports are available. Nobody injected him with anything. The death certificate specifies the cause of death: primary liver cell sarcoma. Yakasai revealed Abiola's case is as traumatic to him as Yar'adua's case. He never saw Abiola alone, he said. Many doctors were seeing him. Falamo was his doctor. He was seeing him too. In Yakasai's particular case, he never knew or ever saw Abiola alone. He was always in the company of other doctors, like Charles Oboma, Opong Maina from Asoro Clinic, and 2 mobile policemen. Yakasai always saw him in the company of about 5 to 6 people. At a point, Dr. Bako was withdrawn. Yakasai was not told why. Of course, there was always a delay before they were allowed to see him. The delay was from Abacha and Mustafa. They have to give them permission to see Abiola. He was their prisoner. Between 2 of them, they kept him in solitary detention. Not me, Yakasai said. Each time they were allowed to see him, they saw him promptly. Yakasai revealed that the last time he saw Abiola was in September 1997. Abiola died in July 1998. Again, he said, for the sake of Allah, that at no time did Abiola complain all through the period he was seeing him, that he had any problem with his left side of his heart. Never. Usually, Abiola complained of diarrhea and headache. Then in early 1997, he complained of abdominal pains, but they found out that he had what was commonly known as pile. So they gave him suppositories, and Yakasai reported his condition to Mustafa. When Abiola complained of the state of his mattress, "I used my money to buy him a new one," Yakasai said. He said, quote, "Like in Yar'adua's case, I never ever gave Abiola any injection, nor did I ever take his blood for any test. Unfortunately, Abiola is not here to confirm this, but the authorities know. All the doctors and personnel that were seeing Abiola with me know this." End of quote. The explosion that almost killed Lieutenant General Diya took place on December 13, 1997, as he was on his way to the burial ceremony of the mother of Major General Lawrence Onoja. It was at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. The truth is that the government lied when it said, through the Commissioner of Police Abuja, that the explosion was an accident from a hand grenade. It was a bomb, Yakasai revealed. The target was General Diya, Yakasai believed. Abacha and Mustafa wanted to finish him off. Others would have died with him. They used 2 boys. Both of them are dead. Both of them had the same name, Samaila. As a medical doctor, when the explosion happened, Yakasai was the first person to rush to the airport. But for his job, he would have collapsed because of what he saw. One of the boys had blown into pieces. He was the one who meticulously packed his body into a paper bag. The other boy was half burnt. He was the one who took him to Gogolada General Hospital and told them it was an accident. Yakasai told them it was a car accident. He died 2 or 3 days later, but before he died, he spoke to Yakasai, almost in whispers, because he was in very bad shape, Yakasai said. In Yakasai's words, he told me it was Mustafa who asked him to bomb Diya. I did not tell anybody this. The only person I told was Mustafa because he was my friend. I told him, look at what Samaila told me before he died. But nobody else heard it because he spoke to me in whispers for my ears only. So only Mustafa did I tell. It was Mustafa who sent them. Samaila told me clearly before he died. I do not know how I got involved, but this is the story of how I knew, Yakasai said. On December 28, 1997, Mustafa called him and told him there was a coup. Yakasai said, no, I do not believe it. And Mustafa flared up. In fact, Yakasai did not believe it. He did not take it seriously. Yakasai arrested Diya. He arrested him in a guest house. Then on January 5th, Mustafa called him and asked him to pray hard. Yakasai asked why. Mustafa said Yakasai could be arrested. He said Mohammed, one of them, also jailed, told him that he went to see General Adisa. And Yakasai asked, did Adisa say he was planning a coup? Did he tell Mohammed he was planning a coup? Mustafa said no, but Mohammed said Adisa was grumbling. He said Mohammed said he told Yakasai that Adisa was grumbling. Yakasai replied, yes, he told me, but he told you too, and he told everybody. Mustafa told Yakasai this 3 times. Then, on Tuesday, January 6th, by 7 a.m., one officer, Captain Umar, came and told him that Mustafa wanted to see him in his office. Then, Umar told him to surrender his arms. He knew the method. They had been arresting others, and they usually asked them to surrender their arms. So, he knew they had come for him. He surrendered his arms and followed him. When he got there, Mustafa was in the office. He kept him where they could see each other. Yakasai was looking at al-Mustafa. They put handcuffs on him. He could not look at him, Yakasai said. He took Yakasai to Jos in handcuffs. When Major General Chris Garuba saw him in handcuffs, he asked them to remove the handcuffs. He called Mohammed. He called both of us together, and Mohammed told him that he only told him General Adisa was grumbling, and that he told Mustafa and others the same thing. Major General Garuba discharged and acquitted Yakasai. He also discharged and acquitted Colonel Bako. The letter of their discharge and acquittal, copied to everybody, was dated January 10, 1998. As soon as they were discharged, Yakasai left for Abuja. He went to his house. He was very happy. Stupidly, he said, he still took Mustafa as his friend. So, he phoned him to tell him to rejoice with him that he had been discharged and acquitted. Al-Mustafa was in Libya then, but that same night, some security men came to his house and said Mustafa said they should take him and keep him in a guest house. Then Mustafa came back from Libya and did not get in touch with him. He refused to speak to them, him and Bako. But after 3 days, Mustafa sent people to come and apologize. They even brought a check for Yakasai to sign for them. The check was in the tune of 500,000 naira. He gave it to a squadron leader and the SSS operative, Lawal Argungu. But the following day, Yakasai was asked to go back to Jos. When he got there and Garuba saw him, he was furious, very furious. Then Colonel Frank Omenka gave him a file and it contained in quotes, medical. Yakasai asked, "What is this? What is medical?" But he told them what he thought they were referring to. It happened on December 20th. That day, Mustafa told him there was a coup. It concerned an SSS operative who was given coliform to drink until he lost consciousness. He died later on, but before he died, he talked to Yakasai. His name was Mohammed Sule. Sule was brought to Yakasai. He was very bad, in very bad shape, Yakasai said. He was brought on the night of December 20th to the villa. Yakasai resuscitated him. The following day, he was vomiting and passing blood. He told him it was Captain Bature who gave him the coliform to drink. He recorded Sule. In fact, he recorded him on video. And he gave it to Mustafa. Yakasai didn't know what they wanted, but as soon as he told this story, the charge was dropped. He was discharged again by General Garuba. He told Yakasai that he would get his letter. Colonel Frank told Yakasai, "No, don't go back to Abuja yet. Go and stay in the officer's guest house at Rukuba Barracks, Jos." Yakasai was there for 3 weeks, doing nothing. From there, he even signed a check in the tune of 4 million naira for al-Mustafa. Then on Monday morning, he was invited again to face another panel. This time, they made sure Garuba did not see him. He faced only Colonel Frank. He was not allowed to see Garuba. Frank now asked him about the 500 million naira PTF money. And he told Frank it was easy, that it was Mustafa who was in charge of the money, but that he told him to pay it into his own account from where he controlled it. They even invited General Adisa, who confirmed they bought 23 houses from his ministry at Gwarimpa Housing Estate, Abuja. So Yakasai was asked to write it down. As he was writing it down, a police officer came and took the papers from him. He said he should stop. It was from there that he was now sent to Jos prisons and then chained in the hands and legs to the ground for 3 weeks. Yakasai revealed that at this point, he was now charged for conspiracy to commit theft. The Special Military Tribunal, SMT, cleared him of all charges. Mustafa himself was invited. He knew the truth, Yakasai said. The SMT found Mustafa guilty as an accomplice to theft. Yet, Yakasai was the one sentenced to 14 years imprisonment. When Mustafa came to Jos, he denied even knowing Yakasai or anything about the PTF account. Yet, even when I was at Rukuba Barracks, Yakasai said, "I signed a check to the tune of 4 million naira for them." Al-Mustafa denied until he was shown the document, but Malu stopped it and allowed Mustafa to go. But Malu is a nice, disciplined officer, fair-minded, Yakasai said. The truth is that Malu found only 5 people guilty. There were Generals Diya, Olarewaju, Adisa, Major Fadipe, Anakiode, military assistant to Olarewaju. He discharged and acquitted others, but Abacha told him no. That was part of the reasons the judgment was delayed. After everything, Malu had said he would read the judgment the next day, but the judgment never came until 3 weeks later. They wanted to rope in as many people as possible. Even the Director General of SSS, Peter Yar'adua, was an innocent man who did not know what they were doing, who they marginalized. They wanted to rope him in. Even the CGS at the time, Rear Admiral Mike Akibe, they wanted to rope him in, Yakasai revealed. Yomi Tokoya was badly tortured, so he would rope Akibe in, but he refused. Even the later head of state, General Abubakar, they wanted to implicate him. 3 times Abacha asked them to bring out Diya. He spoke to Diya using satellite phone. He asked Diya to implicate General Abubakar, but Diya refused, Yakasai said. In June 1998, 2 attempts were made to kill 16 of us, including Generals Diya, Olarewaju and Alisa, Yakasai said. But for the mercy of Allah, we would have been dead by now. The first attempt was on June 1st. Those who arranged this were Sabo, Mustafa, Frank, Mamoni, and Arugungu of military police. That day, they came to Jos prison and put them in the Black Maria. We were still on handcuffs and chained on the legs. They told us that Abacha wanted to see us, to talk to us and pardon us, Yakasai said. We were on our way to the Jos airport, but troops sent by the GOC, 3rd Armored Division, Major General Peter Shah, intercepted them and brought them back because nobody told the GOC, and I did not think other people knew. Mustafa wanted to kill us off, he said. He wanted to bomb the aircraft carrying us. The second attempt was on the 8th of June, the day Abacha died. They did not know Abacha had died, so they came at about 9 a.m. and told them the commander-in-chief wanted to see them. They boarded a presidential jet, but instead of taking them to Abuja, they took them to Kano, the 16 of them, he said. In Kano, they put all of them in one small room. It had only 1 bed and 1 chair, nothing else. They left them there with no food, but in the night, they brought them a very small food, very little, but Allah said us, he revealed. He just looked outside and saw one of his boys, a member of the strike force. He saw Yakasai and beckoned to him. So Yakasai went near the window. The boy told him, Oga, nobody knows you are here. It is only Mustafa. We are to kill you, but I will never participate. The boy sneaked out, and Yakasai now told General Diya and others. They all began to pray. That is why Allah is wonderful, he said. Because from nowhere, the boys started fighting among themselves. They never agreed on who would start the killing first. They fought and we heard them. It was later they told us Abacha was dead. We were there from June 8th to July 14th. Since February 1996, there have been 4 coups against Abacha. First in Kano 1996. The coup was to take place during the Chief of Staff Conference in Sokoto, but because Abacha did not go, it was aborted. The plan was to kill him there and simultaneously take over in Abuja, but he did not come. Secondly was in Katangora, tagged Exercise Eagle Eye. This was going to be very bloody, but again, they did not go, he said. We knew what they had planned. They were going to kill Abacha there. Before we used our boys to disorganize it, our boys removed the safety pins and everything. Thirdly, in Escravos, again Abacha was supposed to be there for the NNPC project. Escravos is seal-locked. If they had gone, they would have sealed off the place, and that would have been it. But they did not go. It was when that one failed that they planned the 1997 coup. Unfortunately, Diya was the fall. There were 2 plans. Bamiye had told Diya that all the military commanders had decided to remove Abacha. Diya agreed because he thought he was dealing with a human being. Yakasai said He wanted to be head of state too, but Bamiyi had an alternative plan. Once he knew he had Diya's attention, he went and told Abacha that Diya was planning a coup. He became a sort of Abacha plant. But there was a second plan. Troops had already been deployed from Kefi and 3rd Guards Battalion. When it failed, they fell back on the Diya coup. Abacha was not able to sack or arrest Major General Ishaya Bamiyi in spite of what he knew, because he, that is, Abacha, had a hidden agenda. Having used Bamiyi to get rid of Diya, Olarewaju and Adisa, he also wanted to use Colonel Bako to get rid of Bamiyi. In Jos, Abacha asked Bako to speak up about Bamiyi, but Bako refused to talk. If he had talked about Bamiyi, Abacha would have caged Bamiyi too. Then, he would have gotten rid of everybody, Yakasai revealed. Mustafa is naturally a dull person. He is a dunce, Colonel Yakasai said, but he thinks he's a super intelligent officer. Mustafa did not pass his captain to major promotion exam. The military secretary can prove this. Abacha, as chief of defense staff, begged for his promotion. That was how he was promoted, because he was a dunce. He was always afraid of having intelligent people around him. He felt I wanted all the money. He wanted all the boys to call him a saint. He supported all Abacha's atrocities, Yakasai said. Yakasai revealed, quote, "We knew the ones organized by the opposition. We knew the ones that were inside jobs. Twice, the Lagos State military administrator was targeted. They were inside jobs." End of quote. He alleged that Mustafa was the one that organized the killing of Rewani and Kudirat. For Kudirat, the officers used were Lawal OC of the Mopo, Samaila of the Brigade of Guards, Sergeant Rogers of the Strike Force, and Colonel Frank of the DMI. He also embarked on ethnic cleansing, Yakasai said. For example, he implicated Maigari of Protocol Department and replaced him with Dagari. He posted Lieutenant Colonel Abdulmalik Jubril to Pakistan and replaced him with Lieutenant Colonel Abdallah as Abacha's ADC from his state Yobe. He removed Major Idris and posted him to Yola. He removed Ibrahim and replaced him with Jida from Maiduguri. He implicated Major Mohammed in the 1997 coup and replaced him with Admit Officer to the Commander-in-Chief with Major Biwatia from Yobe. He implicated Major Ishaku and replaced him as OC Artillery with Captain Lawal from Nguru, his local government. He implicated Lieutenant Colonel Maina, and he appeared before the Special Investigation Panel SIP in 1995. He removed Lassa and replaced him with Dagam. And look at me, Yakasai said. I do not know why I was implicated in the coup, except I guess they were not happy with me over possibly the following reasons. 1. My decision to send Yar'adua's body to Katsina against their wishes, that he be buried in the Abakaliki prisons. That he knew about the Diya experience at the Abuja airport, they wanted to bomb him off. Al-Mustafa felt he was too close to Abacha and that he could become the CSO. He said that in Bako's case, he was implicated because 1. Mustafa's wife was Bako's girlfriend. Mustafa never forgave him. 2. Being at the National Electoral Commission of Nigeria, NICON, he had direct access to Abacha, and Mustafa hated that. 3. He was close to Sambo Dasuki. 4. That he was a think tank for Abacha, and while Mustafa had no ideas, Bako had very bright ideas. Mustafa suspected Abacha wanted to make Bako commander of the Brigade of Guards. I was shocked to hear that my qualification as a medical doctor is being queried by Falomo because I worked with evil-minded people, Yakasai said. Can Dr. Falomo explain what slow poison is? What is it? He should educate me, he said. It appears to me that Dr. Falomo has nothing to do and has forgotten what medicine is all about. He should please try on a refresher course, especially in pharmacology of poisons. I am a consultant gynecologist. I am a fellow of the West African College of Surgeons. I am an associate fellow of the Medical College of Obstetricians/Gynecologists. I am a member of the Royal College of Obstetricians/Gynecologists, England. I am a fellow of the International College of Surgeons. I am a consultant gynecologist, Aso Rock Clinic. I was National Coordinator, National Program on Immunization. I was Medical Consultant, Family Support Program. I was a physician to the head of state at the time, Commander-in-Chief, General Sani Abacha, when he was Chief of Defense Staff. I always treated and operated his family members. I am not making excuses for myself, but I am not a bad man, he said. I worked with devils. Allah will take care of me because he knows the truth. God bless Nigeria, he concluded. Thanks for watching the video, guys. I really love to know your thoughts about the allegations of Colonel Yakasai and the intrigues of the Abacha regime. Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Don't forget to smash a like and subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification button to get more content like this about African history. It's been Nando from Afriverse Story. See you in the next one.